Ghost Cult Magazine welcomes in our good friend Michael Alago, the legend, the music industry legend. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Here we are in June already of 2021. How this half year already has gone by is like amazing, considering that in 2020 we were stuck in a lockdown for many months, and because of this COVID-19. It was a bit scary. And, it's like if you want to stay home, that's one thing. But having to stay home because you don't know what the heck's going on, everybody has to wear face coverings, and you wonder, like, okay, I'm glad that there is, for me, I can only speak for myself. I'm grateful that there's a vaccine out there, which seems to be helping people. I took the Pfizer vaccine twice, so I'm fully vaccinated. And that gave me a sense of comfort because, I saw numbers of, lots of people dying from this. And whether, some people say, oh, there is exaggeration or whatever. But you know what? The whole world was locked down for a bit of time. And that's real. That's friggin' real. So, and, everybody obviously handled this very differently from each other. And that's fine as well. I didn't go anywhere the first 6 months except the grocery store and the pharmacy with a face covering. And if I was at the grocery store, I wore plastic gloves because those effing people were touching those avocados. And I was like, get your hands off those damn avocados. So I brought them home, put them in the kitchen sink. I have a vegetable scrub brush and I brushed them till there was no skin on there practically, put them in the fridge, and that made me feel okay. But just stuff like that, And, after those first couple of months, I would go out and I would take early in the morning, and I would take long walks along the West Side Highway by myself. And I would take off my face covering if nobody was around. If I saw people, I'd put it back on out of, courtesy and respect for them and myself. And now here we are, 6 months into 2021, and things seem to be, moving forward. I never understood what everyone said, oh, well, about the new normal. I have no idea what the new normal meant, but I don't want a new normal. I don't know. I don't want anything normal, but I do understand, and I believe in new beginnings. So that works for me, new beginnings.
It's been one of the blessings, and I don't throw that word around ever or lightly, but it's been one of the blessings of my career to get to know you. And I'm always so happy to see you. And I've seen you so much the last few years in New York City.
Yeah.
Johnny Rotten, Machine Head, your book signings, any event, any show, punk, metal, whatever. And you're not an introverted person.
No,
so
I've never been.
I don't think of you as an introvert. So I just think maybe this last period of time was hard on a lot of people who are used to being social creatures.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But, as they always say, or some say, there is definitely light at the end of the tunnel. And we feel that now because, the rate of infection or the death rates have totally been going down. It must mean that people are taking better care of themselves. And because of that, we're also noticing that music venues are opening up again. I just saw a whole list for the Paramount in Huntington. Most of it I'm not going to, not because of COVID, because it looks a little rotten to me. But the one show I will go to with, like, I don't know, wings on is I'm definitely going to see Ministry at the Paramount for sure. And, I noticed also that Aftershock is happening in Sacramento, not the end of October 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. So on the 7th, I definitely want to see Metallica. On the 8th, I most definitely want to see Misfits. And then I'll go back for another dose of Metallica. So it's encouraging for all lovers of music that the world is beginning to open up. And I hope that just everybody is safe, and, just safe, not from each other, but just from the virus, you know what I mean? But like any viruses, they do come and go. you know. I'd been vaccinated my whole life from, chicken pox and shingles and all this stuff. And you know what? It works for me. And it gave me, in present day as a grown man, these shots gave me a sense of comfort. So in my mind, I'm moving on.
Me too. I also felt a
Yeah.
wave of relief when I got the
Oh,
second shot and the couple of weeks after, and then you're good.
yeah,
It's not a cure, but it's definitely going to prevent you from getting this thing easily, or even, or
absolutely.
maybe not totally defend you against new versions of it. That's every vaccine. But yeah, I feel a lot better. I may very well see you at Aftershock, and if I do, I might have to hug you. Hello.
Oh, good. I
We're
can't
both
wait.
vaccinated, so I'll be glad
I,
to
I,
give
I
you a hug, my
want,
friend.
I want to hug you too.
Yeah, I'm stoked, and congrats to Danny Wimmer Presents for being able to put on some of these festivals. And I was going to ask you, actually, there's so many that got announced. I think there's all this pent up demand from fans and just relief to go out and enjoy our lives and hopefully get a little bit of normalcy back. But also, I was a little surprised at how many festivals popped up for September and October. It's like almost a dozen now. Some brand new or some not have happened before, like Knotfest has happened all over the world, but they haven't had one in Iowa, and they put one in Iowa. There's
Oh,
several
how
of these.
great.
So many of these things have
And
just
then I
sprung up.
saw a bunch of them that are going to be starting up in 2022. And at the rate we're going, I mean, really, this last 6 months in 2021 have gone by super fast, like super fast.
Mm.
At first when people thought, oh, wow, it's 2020, and at the rate everybody is talking, that there's not going to be any live music till 2022, which thank goodness that ain't the case. There are young people that I know from only from internet, but they're called Plague Years. They're from Michigan,
Great
and they
band.
made a record called Circle of Darkness. That's right. And I love their record. And these were people, when they put out their record, thought, we're going on the road. Didn't happen. I'm just using them as a specific because I like them so very much, and I think they made a very powerful record. So Eric from the band, I think, recently wrote to me and said, we are coming to the East Coast, and we're coming in November, and we're going to be at St. Vitus Bar, I think for 2 nights. And I was just so pleased to hear that.
Same. It's a great band. And I'm super thrilled that, some venues we've lost across the country, across the world.
Yeah.
Some are St. Vitus. Luckily, the fans rallied around that place. You know how much I love that place. Irving Plaza is finally reopening and announced a huge slate of shows. Not all very rock or metal, but some. I know Black Dahlia Murder is going to play there. I love
cool.
Irving Plaza. Is one of my favorite places. I used to go all my life, like CB's or Roseland, and I'm sure the same for you. So.
Totally. I heard Irving Plaza is opening up August 17th, and I'm just trying to pay attention what is going to be opening up, because I certainly am hungry for live music, like all of us are. So I feel like we're thrilled that we're getting to go back out again. Recently I went out. Let's see, 2 months ago. Let's say I went to Tompkins Square Park for the Blood Clot, Madball, and Murphy's Law gig. They got some flack for it, the promoters, but you know what? When that happened 2 months ago, it was already like 13 months or 15 months that we've been indoors. So everybody wanted to go to a show, and it was outdoors. And, we didn't hear that there were any catastrophes. So I just thought it was a healthy thing that we got to start somewhere.
Right on. I think actually a lot of people were very unhappy or skeptical or mad about the show. And then they saw you in the photos with everybody and were like, well, if Michael is there, it's probably okay because he's so careful and conscious.
Well, I don't know, but it was nice seeing people there that I know and didn't know, and young people who were like, oh my God, I love your movie, or can I take a picture with you? And I just thought, yeah, sure, and I took off my face covering. And one British guy who remained unnamed, he like his 2 front teeth are friggin' knocked out. He was a little drunk in the afternoon. When he saw me, I got a big hug. He stuck his friggin' tongue in my ear. And I was like, oh, honey, I got to Purell this ear afterwards. But you know what? I just I just thought, whatever, here we are. And when I was walking around talking to people that I didn't know who wanted to talk to me, and I'm not going to walk up to somebody and just say, are you vaccinated? That's so rude anyway. So I would just put on my face covering. We're outdoors. It's I think it was March 2021. Let's move forward here.
I think it was just the amount of people was shocking to everybody. But again,
live music.
I love all those bands. I love many of my friends were there, including you, people I respect and care about. So if you felt cool about going, then I'm going to respect your choices. Even if I probably would not have gone myself. I had not been vaccinated yet, but I would say that in the future, I am looking forward to those kind of shows. And hardcore shows are the most intimate, personal shows of any kind of rock or metal show, because it's just the nature of hardcore. We all want to be grabbing the mic and jumping on the stage and stage diving and moshing and hugging each other. That's what it is. It's the common bonds of hardcore music that lasts. It's the lasting, I think, the thing that's the genius of the genre is that community that you don't often have with other genres. Guys are in the back just with the arms folded in the face.
Horrible, boring.
Well, sometimes boring. I mean, I get it. I do get it. I love some of those bands, and some of those fans. I am some of those fans, but also just again the sense of community. There's no way to do a socially distanced hardcore show. You can't do a socially distanced hardcore show. It's not really possible.
I don't think so.
And then they had a similar event.
Put up everybody in a bubble. Did you see that Flaming Lips show they did?
It was adorable.
Were you going to bring that up?
We could talk about it. How did you feel?
No, I just remember.
It's not practical to do, but it's cute that they tried it.
Well, you know what? They were also hungry for something live, and it was inventive. It was very creative. I didn't know. I still don't know much about the Flaming Lips, but once I watched them on CBS Sunday Morning or 60 Minutes, I got a sense of that singer. And I thought, oh, these guys are fabulous. They're hardworking. people love them. And people, again, they wanted to get out. So everybody got in the bubble. And there were signs in the bubble like, I want to get out of the bubble to go to the restroom. It was fun. It was clever. And I just thought it was wonderful. And of course, that was like a one-off thing, but I'm glad that it happened.
Right on. That has been the gift of this period of time, just like 100 years ago with our grandparents and their grandparents or their parents, and how they lived through the Spanish flu, because these things do happen in the planet. And without the internet, without technology and phones and all this connectivity, what did people do? I guess stay home and read and talk to each other and never leave the house except to go to the market. And then, we have the gift of these, like I said, a satellite to space beams a signal into my machine so I can see you across the country or my other friends across the world and my staff here at Ghost Call across the world, and shout out to them. So luckily we had these things, and luckily bands could do live streams, and luckily bands could send files over Holix or WeTransfer and make albums without being in the same room. Obviously not ideal, but it's better than nothing.
Oh, absolutely. We're very spoiled. And that's okay. As long as we're grateful, we could be spoiled. And because of technology, when it is our friend, most of the time, we get to do all these creative, inventive things without being in the same room with someone else. Although it is a nice thing when you are in the same room recording or taking photographs or whatever. And I think, like I said, I'm looking forward to these new beginnings and the world opening up again.
Right on. And in the meantime, we have music. So there's been an amazing amount of new music coming out. There's music we haven't heard yet that's been being worked on or bands have been sitting on. I do not personally begrudge. And I mean, I've been working harder than ever. I said this earlier offline with Ghost Cult and whatever I'm doing. But and as have you continued, your book came out and then this thing hit.
That was the weirdest thing. But
It's super weird, but you know, you did get your, I think, a handful of signing events in and regionally, and continue to be a great ambassador for the genres that you love and love you back. And people continue to talk about your movie. You've been on Gimme Metal Radio and the Gimme Metal app, which you've been doing a nice job hosting. They highlighted Who the Fuck Is That Guy? The Fabulous Journey of Michael Alago. So, you know, I appreciate them. They did an awesome thing recently where they gave Ricky Rackman a show and brought back sort of a version of Headbangers Ball with Ricky that I loved, and I hope they
how
continue.
wonderful.
Yeah, and I got to talk to him about Lemmy and Headbangers Ball and his career, which was really cool. But I feel like, you know, anybody who, you know if you felt like you couldn't operate during this period of time of uncertainty, no problem. But if you double down and were creative and continue to do stuff, that's awesome. Let's raise everybody up who's done that.
Absolutely. Well, listen, you know, all of us friends, and people even that I don't know, but a lot of people showed up for my book event Friday, March 6th. That was the last time all of us went out into the world, because that following Thursday, which I think was maybe March 14th, I had tickets for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf on Broadway. And my friend Lauren, she called me up and said, turn on the TV. And of course, being like old school and a little nuts, I was like, oh, who died? And she said, nobody died. But, you know, Broadway, Times Square, it's all closing down. So I just thought I had to think quickly, because even my book publishing company went on furlough. So and you know, I got to hire Maria Ferraro's company, Adrenaline PR, for the first 3 months of the book, and they did a wonderful job working it. And then after that 3 months was over, I seriously had to buckle down in front of the computer and do press and promotion for myself. You know, thank God I know how to market myself. So I did that I'm doing it right now as we speak, but I had to wind up doing it another 8 months, just sitting at home at the computer. And that was really very helpful. And people responded to the book. And I sold a small couple thousand books right now through social media, which is a great thing. And I didn't get to do any of my other readings or signings, but you know what? Maybe I'll do that soon again.
I really loved, especially at the start of the pandemic, how you personally persevered. You know, obviously, look, we're all living our lives in the meantime, but also just professionally. Your book is amazing. As you know, it was the Ghost Cult Book of the Year for our little countdown of books and things that we read. You know how fond we were of the book. Your book signing at Bowery Electric was my last like public event in that whole time. Yeah, unbelievably. So I was sure we were going to see each other again soon and go to a bunch of shows and do things. And but you did an amazing job pivoting. You were reading chapters on Instagram Live when that was a popular thing, and you still do them. Like I said, Gimme Metal highlighted you and gave you a show, and you got to talk about your career. Many, many interviews in print and video. So you really turned it on. Shout out to Metal Maria for the job she did initially. Absolutely. And you know, eternal gratitude to her and her team there. They're wonderful, and I work with them all the time.
Sure.
And I just got my first bit of tour PR in the email. Like, here's some shows for November in these areas that Ghost Cult has people. And I was just like, I almost got choked up. I was like, I cannot believe finally there's an email that's not about a festival. It's like, here's some local shows. Do you want to send some people to photograph and cover it? I was like, yes, absolutely. Yes, I do.
Yes.
Such a good feeling.
Yes.
But yeah, your book was amazing.
Excitedly, yes. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, man, the book was fantastic. And again, people who love the movie and get to meet you or hear from you, you know, obviously there's a lot of, you know, a groundswell of love for the things you put down in your career to help others. And the book is a very deep experience, man. It's multi-layered. You really went all in all the way. You know, the movie's wonderful, and shout out to Drew Stone for the film and everything, but like this book is really all of you. It really is all of you, as much as you would let everybody see all of you, which is, you know, brave. It's not easy to do that.
No, not at all. But I knew that if I was going to write a book the same way I told the truth in the documentary, I had to just put it all out there, or else then for me in my mind, what's the point? So I, you know, when people said, is it a Metallica book? No. And you know, it wasn't meant to be a Metallica book, but because they were my biggest signing ever, there's a good amount of Metallica in the book. But it's about my life, the roller coaster of my wonderful, crazy life. So, it starts off in Brooklyn. It talks about my years, 25 years almost, as an A&R executive. So, of course, we talk about Metallica and the signing of summer of 1984 at Roseland. We talk about Nina Simone and great White Zombie story in the book. We talk about, Patti Smith, who is one of my idols, who wasn't in the documentary, but when I was ill with HIV, and she was in St. Clair Shores, Michigan, married to Fred Sonic Smith from the MC5, and they were raising 2 children. She called me every single day to see how I was doing. I was talk about choked up. I was choked up, but she was lovely and caring. And at that point in time, she at some point during that period, she lost her husband. She lost her best friend, Robert Mapplethorpe. Her brother, Todd, passed away. So all these men in her life from very different things passed away. So as a loyal fan of hers since the mid 70s, she reached out to me. And that was really so lovely. I mean, her sense of humanity is big and beautiful. And, those phone calls kept me strong,
It's amazing. What a
Yeah.
gift
So
her whole existence has been.
her whole being, she gets smarter and more wise every single year. So, I wanted the book to be about a lot of things. The artists I work with, alcoholism, sobriety, living in gratitude because I don't drink or drug anymore. I brought up HIV and AIDS because it was a big part of my life as well. And I always tell people, whatever it is in your life, if you are struggling, try not to be afraid and ask for help. When you're serious about any issues that you could be struggling with or have just some kind of problem, you're going to get the help that you need if you're serious. And, so at one point I asked for the help that I needed, and I went to Alcoholics Anonymous. And now I have almost 14 years coming up clean and sober. And it's a blessing because, I wake up in my own bed. I have a routine in the morning with certain prayers that I say, and I have my tea, and I get to a 9 o'clock Zoom meeting. All of that is a blessing when someone like myself, who had troubled times, is clean and sober, and I show up. I show up for this interview. I show up for Zoom in the morning. I show up for family and friends. And I'm a responsible human being. And that's a blessing. And I appreciate that. And I, one day at a time, which is for everything one day at a time, I just continue to move forward in life. So I put all those things together in little chapters in my book with my co-writer, Laura Davis Chanin. And we both just looked through all of my journals. I kept journals since I'm like 15 years old. And some of those journals, there's nothing poetic about it. It's just, I don't know how I knew to make lists of everywhere I was going. And that helped trigger all my memories to get the book done.
You have a wonderful mind. That's how your mind works. You put things in a place, and that's what they mean, memory.
Sure.
You anticipate a future desire for a memory. Like, I want to crystallize this moment. Maybe I will always have my memories, but what if I don't? And so, I think that there's a personality trait where we catalog and quantify things on that same way. And the not just the stories and the self-awareness and the honesty and the accountability story of the book, the photos,
Cool photos,
such an
yeah.
unbelievable, like, again, I have been lucky to see behind the curtain a little bit and see some of your boxes of photos
Sure.
in our last interview. I was very fortunate. I was like, we left your place, and I was like, I can't believe that he shared some of this with us. This is nuts. And
Oh,
then we got to
good.
share. You allowed us to share some of that stuff in our past. But like the photos in the book are most of them have not been seen before. A few of them I would call them famous in our community shots of you with people, but like some of them are just like unbelievable, like shots from your time at the booking the Ritz, and like Bono as a kid, basically young Bono and
Listen,
young Cyndi Lauper.
1981,
Right.
I booked U2 when only the import of their first album, Boy, was available, sold out.
Mm,
I booked in the infamous Public Image Limited show in May of '81
yes.
because Malcolm McLaren called me and said, "Bow, wow, wow, we're not coming."
Mm,
Oh boy, did I have a fisticuff over the phone with him, as they
mm. Was
say.
that because of her mom was scared to let her travel? Or there's
Yes,
some
she was
story about
young,
that.
but I said to him, you know what, when you booked this, she was underage. I'll pay for her mom to come. They
I,
said no. I
uh,
had to think quick. I booked John Lydon's band, Public Image Limited. It was a disaster, but
yes.
we don't have to go into that because it's a story I have told over and over and over and over again. It's a wonderful story. The wonderful part about the riot and having to close down the place is that was the beginning of a 41-year friendship with John, and to this day, and we've never had bad words with each other. There's something
Awesome.
to say about both of us.
Probably says a lot
So,
about you that
well,
you're
both of
one of
us,
his
he's
favorites.
quite the character. He's a
Mm.
loving, caring human being. He's very, very smart. And I appreciate all that about him. So,
Right on. Again, I think it's kind of funny when a movie is made about you, or when your memoirs come out and you tell those stories, and you hear it's awesome to hear people say nice things about you, but also it's like, oh, I'm still here. You're still doing stuff. You're here. If you were just talking about, look at all this stuff I did in the past, but you're living in the present now. You're making art now with your photography. I would love for you to write another book someday if you have time. Whatever you're doing, you're going, with gratitude and peace and prosperity. So,
oh, absolutely.
you have a lot in front of you. We're looking forward to whatever the next Michael Alago thing is that we can check out and take in.
Sure. Well, like I said, during the pandemic, I stayed home the first 6 months. And after that, I just thought to myself, I can't stay home anymore. This is going to drive me crazy. I'm watching too much MSNBC and yelling at the damn TV. So then I would flip it over to TCM to watch all my favorite black and white movies. But I also knew I wanted to get out, and I knew a bunch of friends who wanted to get out of their homes as well. So I made a little series of black and white portraits called Art in the Time of Coronavirus. And Mina from Life of Agony is in there, a whole bunch of people. And we found an interesting backdrop outdoors. The link that bound everyone together, whatever the proper word is, that put everyone together was that we all had to wear a face covering. So it kind of stamps the time period that these pictures were taken. I'll send you a few of them. So I'm working on a black and white portrait book that will contain some of those COVID portraits, and just regular beautiful portraits that I've been taking. And I've shot everyone from Billy Biohazard to Mina to Al Jorgensen, and the list kind of goes on. I love James from that group Gost, Gost.
Mm.
Fabulous,
Yeah.
fabulous. So I've been out there now exploring new artists to take pictures of, as well as all the new music that we're getting now. And so artists who didn't put their records out in 2020 or put them out at the very end are just releasing things in 2021. And that's so exciting,
Indeed, there's so much good stuff out there and more to come. The new Gojira is fantastic. I've been listening to a lot of sort of younger bands paying
Yeah.
homage to retro heavy metal. So there's a band called Eternal Champion that you might like, or Haunt from LA, or LA-ish, Fresno. And they are all doing awesome sort of modern heavy metal, if you will, and a bunch of other bands. Silver Talon is another one we just ran a review of, and a lot of great hardcore bands. I was just listening to, there's a band from Florida called Prison, and their front person is a sort of a political and personal activist for mental health awareness and
Oh, wow.
suicide prevention. Johnny Crowder is his name. He's on my Facebook friends list. If
And
you
they're
want
called Prism?
the band is called Prison, like
Oh, Prism.
jail, and
Okay.
they are one of the better new hardcore bands out there.
Oh,
Also,
I just made a note of that.
yeah, sure
Yeah,
thing. I'll send you a
when
list.
we kind of messengered each other on Facebook recently, you turned me on to this band, Spirit Box,
Yes.
who have a song called "Circle with Me," but it's also, I believe, the title of their album. Wow,
Yeah, they have their records coming out. They just signed a big record deal.
very special band.
Super good band. Yeah, so
Yep.
good. And again, so DIY. So even, I know I once interviewed Mike Muir, who's a hero
Uh,
of mine, and I wanted to talk to him about kind of, I feel like even now ST is still like, 30, 40 years on for these punk bands that started out in hardcore. It's still a DIY business. And he was like, DIY is a slogan, man. He's like, but yes, we do everything ourselves also.
that's
So
incredible.
Bearbox is a band that they really have kind of built themselves from the ground up. That video that I sent you of the song Holy Roller, that looks like the film Midsommar, they shot in their
Oh,
backyard
yes.
with some makeup,
Wow.
and like that was done for like no money in their house.
Hey, we have to be inventive.
We have to be inventive. That's what this whole year has taught us all is, how to, again, how to be our best selves. I think that's hopefully, I know some people would definitely their worst selves during this period of time, and that's human nature in life. But like
Correct.
most of us, I feel like have been our best selves. You have always trying to get people to be their best selves, and showing your example about being your best self, which I'm grateful for, has helped me be better. I'm so thankful to know you and have followed you. Again, like I know that a lot of people come into contact with you, like you said, because of Metallica, White Zombie, Nina, whatever, whomever they associate you with. But then I think they get this thing they weren't expecting, which is a lot of this wisdom and light and helpfulness and encouragement. And like I said, your daily, anybody who is not following Michael, please follow on Instagram. We're going to link everything in the description at the bottom of the video. Your Instagram is a daily source of inspiration, whether it's just you personally, thoughts for the day, your videos, whatever it is you're sharing. It's worth seeing daily. It's good. It's
Well, I
goodness.
always, I love social media. You get to meet new people, both good and bad. And so I love that sharing, that universal sharing with each other. So, I'm always on Facebook. I post like at least 10 things a day. I keep everything positive because we all know about all the negativity out there in the world. I don't want to be part of that. So all my Instagram posts and all my Facebook posts are, about music and art and theater, meditations, AA thoughts of the day. It's a very well-rounded thing, and all of it is under Michael Anthony Alago. And so I always encourage people to come and say hello. And a lot of people say, Michael, I start my day by going to your Facebook page because it's so encouraging. And if I didn't wake up encouraged, or I woke up in fear, you've helped me turn that around. And I get choked up, and I think, well, if I can do that for one person, and it's like a domino effect. You do it for one person, all those other people who come and support you in social media, they feel that too, because we all just want to live well and be healthy and kind of, as corny as it sounds, but I don't care, love one another. We have to be kind to each other. It's a great big world out there, and there's a lot of unkindness out there, but there are also people that know how to share love. So
Indeed, I love that, and it reminds me of a quote from Harvey Firestein, who said, "I just want to be loved. Is that so bad? It's not so bad. We all want to be loved, and
correct.
acceptance, self-acceptance, and mass acceptance. If you're an artist and you're vulnerable, just generally accepted by being ourselves and being allowed to be who we need to be to live our lives. It's not gonna break your life for somebody to love is love. It's not gonna hurt you for somebody
Not hard
to
at
be their
all.
best, to be their true self. It's not gonna
Yes.
ruin your life in your little corner of the world. You live your life over there. Let me live mine over here. This
Mhm.
is we can get along. We are
Absolutely.
supposed to get along. It's
Yeah.
okay.
I
And you
think,
can, yeah.
yeah. Go ahead. No, I was going to say, I think as we are moving forward right now, I think we are going to continue to be our best selves ever. I like to think that because I don't want to think any other way, you know?
Amazing.
I am looking forward to going out to the theater. My friend Lauren Chodish and I are like theater pals. She's also my attorney, who is a dear, dear friend for 25 years. We're trying to figure out what we want to go see on Broadway.
I have a recommendation for you.
Oh,
I just got turned on to this amazing show that's coming. It's coming this fall, and it's from the people who were the producers and creators of Rocktopia, which was little known. It came and went, but they have a new production called Rock Me Amadeus, and it is just what you think it is. It is
oh my God.
It is
Oh,
rock and heavy metal matched with opera, Broadway, and classical music. Dee Snider is in it, and they have superstars from Broadway, opera, and classical music.
Oh, that's going to be so fun. That's like when I saw Rock of Ages. You know what I mean? Or when I saw Jekyll and Hyde, and who was playing Jekyll and Hyde? Sebastian Bach. So,
and he was great.
Oh, whoa. He was marvelous. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. I was thrilled and proud of him. And moving forward, there's so much to look forward to. Like I said, music, art, theater, museums. I just got turned on to a lot of new bands like Alluvial. I love their single 40 Stories. The Lion's Daughter. I think their album and single is called Curtains.
Yep.
I didn't know anything about Wolfheart, and they have a single out called Hereditary. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. I love, like I mentioned earlier, Plague Years from Michigan, and their album is called Circle of Darkness. I love these guys. It's like when people have incredible screams. And, when I heard the Alluvial single, I was like, I think it's one of the guys screams and the other guy is like the main singer. And both of the marriage of both their voices flip me out. And I'm like, I'm supporting the band because I ordered their CD online. I can't wait to get it because that's what we do. And I'm just excited to hear that record. Nice. Also, there's a band that I've been loving these last 2 years called Ether Coven. They're from South Florida. I got them a little deal at one point with Century Media. We made a record called Everything is Temporary Except Suffering. It was a one-off with them. So we're going to figure out where we're going to make our next record. That record that I just spoke of was produced by Eric Rattan. We love Eric Rattan from Old Angel. He's a good, I don't know him. I just know texting and that he makes incredible music.
And he's in Cannibal Corpse now.
Right? And as a producer. So all those bands that I just listed are wonderful new artists. Most of them are brand new artists. And so it's exciting to hear things you've never heard before with people putting their own stamp, hopefully, on their own uniqueness.
Nice. It's awesome. It's awesome that you still have this great passion to discover and love new music and support these bands.
I love music. Like I say in my book at the beginning in Brooklyn, I came out of the womb loving music. I knew I always wanted to be in the music business, but as a 14-year-old in Brooklyn, what the heck does that mean? I have no idea. So I watched, Don Kirshner's rock concert, or the Midnight Special, or Soul Train, or American Bandstand, and listen to 70s AM radio, which wasn't heavily formatted back then. So my ears got filled with everything from Grand Funk Railroad to Aretha Franklin. And in this day and age, I'm still excited about music. And, back then I just never had a plan B. I focused myself and I got, I got to live my dream.
That's amazing. And so lucky.
Still living it.
That's
amazing. I dream all the time.
Right on. A lot of people would love to do that. And
sure.
It's awesome that you got to really continue to live your dream and that you're still so very passionate about new and old music. Sure. And so I did not get to ask you a wild card question last time around. I'm going to ask you one now.
Uh-oh.
This is a fun one. I was inspired. I signed up for a dating app, which I'm not very good at. And the dating app asked the question, if you could only listen to one song forever, what is that song? And I was like, I want to ask that question to Michael Alago.
Alice in Chains would.
Yes. Nice. I'm a little surprised by that. I would have thought
One of my
Nina or Dead
all-time
Boys.
favorite rock songs ever. I could listen to that every day. I feel something different from it. You know, what an extraordinary band, great players. But yeah, it just when you asked me the question, I had no I didn't have to think about it. So there you go. Alice in Chains would.
Amazing. Rest in peace, Lane, and continued
Absolutely.
success to those guys. I love William Duvall so much. His solo album meant so much to me during the beginning of the pandemic. I listened to it daily for
Oh,
inspiration. His
nice.
acoustic record, One Alone.
Oh,
And we got to chat with him. That's a video here on YouTube. Anyone can watch. Michael Alago, it is always a gift to see you and talk to you and continue to share your story. I'm so looking forward to this new photo book.
me too.
And one of these days, I'll see you either at Aftershock or a show
Oh,
somewhere.
yes. Well, this year we
Again.
we'll make a point of seeing each other.
Be
And
nice.
there's I'm sure there's more things coming up that we don't even know about yet, of course. So we will be seeing each other. And thank you for having me again. I love Ghost Cult Mag a lot. I love you people. You're awesome. And just, you know, it's always nice communicating with wonderful human beings. So thank you very much.